folks over at the Embedded Alliance try to reach out to people who are innovating in this field, and one of the people that we are going to ask to start off this session is Tim Ramsdale. Tim is the General Manager for Vision and Imaging and Visions Group at ARM. Tim has been working in the fields of imaging, vision, and multimedia since 2001, since he was part of the founding group at Alpha Mosaic in UK. Since Alpha Mosaic, he's moved up to Broadcom before Tim joined ARM as a general manager. Tim holds 11 patents in microprocessor, multimedia, and IC design. And one of the things that Tim will be talking about today per slide is that obviously we are all here because vision is changing the paradigm on how we interact with computer systems, and Tim will be going in depth on that presentation. Tim? Great.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the introduction there, and welcome to everyone who's sat here in the room to listen. So what I hope to convince you, and if I can't convince an audience of people who've come to a vision conference that vision is going to be important, then I think I will have failed. But why computer vision will be ubiquitous and why we should care. We've heard a lot about new use cases that are going to be enabled by computer vision, but I hope to also cover some of the existing use cases that are going to be revolutionized by the technology that we're able to deliver. So firstly, a little bit about ARM. So ARM is all about delivering secure, energy-efficient computing wherever computing happens. And for vision, I believe that means everywhere. ARM made a significant investment in computer vision in May last year, with the acquisition of a UK-based technology company called Apical. That was a company based in Loughborough in the UK, and ARM has continued to invest in our vision technologies and linking the technology that we acquired through Apical into the other technologies that ARM provides. You may also have seen the launch of our first autonomous camera IP last week, the Mali C71, designed specifically to enable computer vision applications in the autonomous driving space. A couple of quick plugs as well for some other talks. So at 2 o'clock today, a gentleman called Tim Hartley will be talking through one of our vision technologies called Spirit. He'll be talking at 2 o'clock in a session today. And yesterday, you may have seen Roberto Miat talk about our mobile compute library, which is bringing new levels of performance of vision applications to our current and future CPU and GPU technologies. Finally, we have our technology demos running in the demo suite, both internal ARM ones and also technologies enabled by our ecosystem partners. With that, let me move on. So firstly, in case no one had noticed, it's a visual world. If one of my team were to drop a tray full of plates at the back of this room, I guarantee you would all look around to see exactly what had happened, and probably at least the Brits among you would give a little cheer and a round of applause. I still don't know why that happens, but anyway. If the temperature of the room suddenly dropped, you would look around to understand. Teaching computers to see has been absolutely revolutionary, because it is our primary sense for understanding, and having cameras constantly able to understand our environment and what we are doing opens up a lot of new use cases and business models for us. So a lot of the sensors that we use today are actually just proxies for vision, and some of them are not very good proxies for vision. As someone who 20 years ago tried to deploy home automation in their house based on PIR presence sensors and has to endure the abuse from my wife that whenever she sat there reading a book, after 20 minutes the lights would turn off because she hadn't moved enough. A lot of these sensors simply are proxies for what we are trying to detect. PIR, IR beam to try and do people counting, magnetic sensors to detect whether doors are open or closed. More modern examples, accelerometers, which we use today to detect whether we're running or are we playing tennis in order to correctly count calories. Have you turned your head or have you moved to the side? And then other sensors. Is there a water leak, which we detect by the carpet already being sodden with water? How full is the water cooler, which we detect by a phone call to facilities asking for it to be filled up? So a lot of sensors that exist today are proxies for vision, and many of these sensors can be replaced by single cameras enabled with vision technology. Interestingly, when I tell people what I do working on vision, the first thing they always say is, you must be working on self-driving cars, which is a really important market for us. And it's something that we and many other companies are investing in. And it's been driving a lot of the innovation in this space. I then ask people to think of their second use case. And the really fascinating thing is that when people come up with their second use case, it's always different. And they always start to get really excited about what this use case could enable in their lives. And that's what makes me believe vision will be everywhere. It's about what people can achieve using vision technologies and the way that enables new opportunities, but also enables new business models together with those opportunities. Now, let me give you a few real-world examples. So the first company I'd like to mention is a company called Heartfelt, based in the UK. This company has done some research and understood that swollen ankles provide early warning of heart failure for high-risk patients. Now, don't all grab your ankles right now. It's about tracking the size of your ankles, and if you get a significant increase over a period of time, then you are more likely to suffer a heart-related event. Heartfelt Technologies have got a vision-based solution that sits in your house. As you walk past it in the morning on the way to the shower, it detects your ankle, models it in 3D, and monitors it for any change, and it seamlessly notifies doctors if there is a significant and worrisome increase in your ankle size. Now, what's really interesting about this is not specifically the technology behind this, but actually the business model that is used and being deployed by Heartfelt in this case. So Heartfelt don't actually sell this unit. Heartfelt install the unit free of charge in people who are likely to be high risk of heart incidents. And in the event of a detection being made that the doctor's notified, medicine is prescribed in order to hopefully prevent the incident occurring. And then the hospital or the healthcare provider foots a charge in order to cover the cost of the unit. In this case, a very significant hospital visit is saved It saves the cost of an ambulance, it saves the cost of admission, and it saves also what is quite a traumatic experience for the patient themselves. But what Heartfelt have done, have converted vision technology into a really new and interesting business model in order to try and both reduce the cost of healthcare as well as provide significant value to the end users. Another example, I doubt anyone this morning has been worrying about waste collection, but a US company called Compology worries a lot about waste collection. This is a company providing a technology to try and reduce the cost of needless waste collection. The way this market has traditionally worked, and let's face it, a market that has been around for hundreds of years, is waste is collected in a regular cycle that's been pre-agreed. The issue, though, is quite often that cycle is arranged based on worst case waste creation. And in this case, Compology have got a really interesting technology, a camera that sits on the top of the trash can, on the top of the waste, and it notices when the skip is nearly full. At that point, it automatically radios to the base, and the truck comes out and replaces the skip. It reduces pickups by about 50%, which substantially reduces the cost of waste collection, which, again, is a really novel business model because they can share the cost saved between their technology and the end users of the skips themselves. A few other use cases which again provide really interesting approaches and uses of computer vision to existing markets. So agriculture, which is a very human intensive market. Interestingly, a lot of crops mature at very different rates, which means just a whole-scale collection of crop can be very wasteful in terms of yield of that crop. Broccoli, I believe, is a really good example of this. Computer vision technology, this is an EU program that's being put together. Allows crops to just be picked selectively and can be picked to order. So if there is a specific market niche for older or younger crops, that can be targeted very easily through this. And then finally, much talked about, but the smart home and smart building use cases. Presence detection, I already talked about. I didn't get into this industry just to get less grief at home, but security, of course, but also some other interesting use cases. So controls of the environment, use cases such as limiting screen time for children or controlling what's able to happen in the household if only children are present in the room. And then when we talk about smart buildings, detecting unusual events. So you may have heard Michael Tush talk yesterday about unusual events. If a room where people are usually walking, instead they start running, this can cause, this can trigger an alert in a control center, and that can be investigated. Lack of people in a usually busy area, or a collection of people in an area where usually there's only a few. All of these events can trigger alerts with no human interaction involved. So, what does this mean for us as an industry? So I believe we've got a perfect storm. We've got a strong desire for solutions today, and we also have all of the key components in order to deliver them. We've got mass market economics. So The technology that we have, starting from cell phones, but the volumes that we're talking about are ripe for us to exploit this market. We have increased low power processing solutions, and we have improving computer vision techniques, as you heard in detail this morning. That provides us opportunities for new markets to be created, but also for us to revolutionize existing markets. As I mentioned, the time for imaging and computer vision is now. Camera sensors, we are already delivering over 4 billion camera sensors in industry per year. We already have extremely high resolution image sensors available for very, very low prices. And a Gartner forecast, we will have over 1 billion connected cameras installed by 2020. With over 1 billion connected cameras, we need an automatic solution to process that data. I wanted to touch on 3 really key technology requirements that I see in the market today, and that I think solving is critical to vision being widely adopted in the industry. Firstly, it's real time. For human interaction, latency minimization is absolutely critical. You only have to walk into the middle of a room once and the lights not turn on, and then you trip over the cat, to realize that actually the lights turning on as soon as you appear at the door is really important. Humans are very intolerant of latency in their interactions with devices. And the only way that vision is going to take off with human-computer interaction use cases is if we're able to deliver at least 30, if not 60 frames per second of interaction. That means we can't tolerate cloud response times. We have to have those high frame rates. The other really significant reason for requiring real-time processing is detecting events. So from a still image, you can detect events, you can try and interpret what's happening, but from motion, from tracking people through a scene, it's far, far easier. What's the difference between someone leaving a room and someone collapsing behind a piece of furniture that they can't see? If you're only sampling at a few frames per second, the two can be exactly the same. What's the difference between people stood around having a conversation and a scuffle in the street? The answer is the movements that you see and the speed of the movements you see. This is a picture that I've stolen from Tim Hartley's presentation later. But tracking people through a scene, you can understand far more about exactly what's going on than the individual still image on its own will show you. The second is the need for processing at the edge. This is a very famous quote. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and uses up 1,000 times the memory. The challenge being that video is 2 orders of magnitude worse. We have to have processing at the edge because there is not enough bandwidth in the world for 1 billion cameras to stream their data back to a central location. Processing at the edge means low power. It really does mean low power, because even if you've got a device plugged in at the edge, the form factors that we're talking about cannot cope with multiple watts of power consumption. We have to get down to a sensible power envelope, which means we have to have low power solutions, and we have to optimize those solutions in order to deliver that consumption. My final important trend here is about privacy. Privacy goes hand in hand with security, and it's not a solution that you can bolt on at the end of your development cycle. Privacy is something that you have to care about throughout the development cycle. I talked at the beginning about multiple sensors being replaced with a single camera. It's really important for vision to take off that we consider the privacy implications of this and that we have the appropriate security solutions in place in order to deal with it. It's important that only relevant data is captured and is analyzed at the edge, so the only thing that leaves those edge devices is information about the scene, but not superfluous information about the scene. Having that control point at the edge significantly reduces the potential for data breach or remote monitoring, and making sure that security solution is engineered alongside the vision technology ensures that only the approved select data leaves the edge device. This may be today less important for large areas, but I fervently believe that we will see vision solutions within the home. I believe we will see vision solutions within the workplace, and privacy and security go hand in hand. So the combination, low power edge processing with security at the edge, together with real time, again, provides us opportunities for new and existing markets to be really transformed by vision technology, together with really interesting new business models. When we put this together, what do we get? I honestly do believe vision will be everywhere and will change everything. It is far beyond new use cases that we can dream up. I believe it is going to revolutionize the world we live in today, and there is a whole world of opportunity for partners up and down the value chain to contribute to this. It is not going to be one company alone that transforms the world, but a partnership of companies together that are able to make this revolutionary step. Sensors are going to be replaced by cameras, and those cameras are going to monitor what we actually care about and not proxies for what we care about. Low power, real-time edge processing, security are absolutely mandatory to this being carried off as a solution. And this will enable new and interesting business models based on some of the things I talked about earlier in terms of early detection of problems and optimizing processes today that could be extremely manpower heavy. Finally, we need to optimize the complete system. This isn't just about vision algorithms. It's about vision algorithms and how they interact with our compute hardware, how they interact with the security environment, and how they interact together with the solutions in the cloud. That is absolutely fundamental to us succeeding in revolutionizing the world for our globally connected population. Thank you very much for listening. Does anyone have any questions?
Hello.
Hello.
Raul Lopez with BAE Systems Imaging Solutions. I have a question related to pedestrian detection. From your point of view, how solved is pedestrian detection today? Is it at 70%, 80%, 90%? And when do you think it will be at 100%?
So I think we're very close to being there today. I think we're upwards of 80%, and it comes down to what problems you are actually trying to solve or not, and depending on the criticality of the use case that you're looking to solve. You can see our demo in the the demo suite running the technology we have available today. And it shows extremely high detection rates of people based on multiple models being able to detect not only the entire individual, but also portions of that individual, together with the real-time nature and the ability for us to track temporally. We do, I believe, an extremely good job of detecting pedestrians today.
And when do you think it will be at 100%?
What is 100%? I think that's an impossible question to answer. I would encourage people to look at the solutions we have today and find the areas at which we need to optimize and improve further, because I think what we've got today is extremely compelling.
Okay, thank you.
As part of getting computer vision everywhere, a big issue is around those deploying and whether or not their risk is excessive for there to be implementing now. A comparison is with databases. Things were sequential on magnetic tape. They went on to computers. But even then, it wasn't clear until relational databases went out over Codicil, and SQL became a common interface that now you could create applications to that, and it didn't matter what other supplier and vendors were under you. You felt safe and relatively low risk. Do you see any interfaces now that are popping up to lower that risk for implementers, so that they're not having to redesign those interfaces every few years?
That's a really good question, and something we care a lot about. Certainly for the technology that we're deploying today, we're looking forwards to the future to make sure that we can future-proof all of the interfaces that we're providing to our solutions today. I think one of the key issues behind vision deployment today will be if people just keep waiting for the next thing. This industry is moving so fast. There is always going to be a next exciting thing, and you can always wait for that next exciting thing. But I think the solutions that we can deploy today are actually already really compelling. But as you say, making sure that they are future-proofed for the future is really important.
So I think the talk is very encouraging for the computer vision practitioners like us. So I have one question, like the sensors will be replaced by cameras. As we know, a lot of false alarms may happen for video processing. So what do you think about the combination of different sensors with camera, or do you think the camera would be the only sensor?
So I think there could still be a blend. We heard from Microsoft HoloLens, of course, that they use a blend of sensors today. I think particularly for false positives in the security market, which is a major concern, and a lot of the really lightweight solutions do generate a lot of false positives. I think the technology that we have available today does an extremely good job of avoiding false positives, and also we as ARM have got some technology to over time allow you to reduce the number of false positives through a learning approach. So I really do think that we're going to see cameras become the primary sensing methodology. Excellent.
Tim, thank you for a great presentation.
Thank you very much indeed. Cheers.